Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 27. At this point, we could get started on launching the first construction rockets, but that will start raising the threat in the dark fog hive in our system. Before we actually start building the sphere, I would like to make sure that our planets are reasonably well defended, and so today we will work on just that. While our missile launchers are capable of fending off the relay stations, they are a bit short-handed when it comes to dealing with attacks from space. The last time I gave it a try during a test, the enemy lancers were able to hover just outside the range of the turrets. So, to ensure that we can defend ourselves, we will need something better. Before we get started, I would love it if you subscribe to the channel, and clicking the like button will let me know that this video was worth making. If you want to help me make a living off this one day, please consider becoming a channel member, where you will get an early access to the videos as I make them, and for a one-time donation, you can find a link to my Ko-fi page in the description. But enough talking, let's get into it. Okay, I don't want to make you sit through the crafting of the last remaining stackers for this fractionator setup, so we will look at some other stuff we can do, and come back when they are ready. Currently, our biggest shortage comes in the form of the blue magnetic rings. They are very important, we need them in the creation of the fuel cells, so sorting this out is pretty much our #1 priority. Tracing the production chain back, we discovered that we are not making enough iron plates anymore. That means we need to build a second smelting tower to deal with the shortfall. And looking at the iron tower we have, it is struggling with the raw iron throughput. We have a lot of it coming in, but very little of it being on Vulcan. Building a second array will help with the throughput a little, basically splitting the overall demand, but to strike at the heart of the issue, we will need to do something about the logistics vessels. Now, we have two options. We can either go to the already set up mining outpost we have in the Lambda Leonis system, and clone the delivery tower we have there, so we can increase the overall number of vessels dealing with the deliveries. Or, we can set up a second mining operation somewhere else. Since we will need to do that anyways at some point, I will go for the latter option. It will take a bit of time for the iron to propagate down to the assemblers on Juno, so we will need to revisit this place quite often to make sure we actually fix the problem. Spoiler alert, we did not. Now, I did want to expand the array making the electric engines, but we are out of foundations at this point. There is no choice, we have to set up a new factory for it at the mall. Unfortunately, I do make the mistake of building this at the wrong end of the place. We need steel and bricks to make the foundations, and as it happens, we have those set up on the exact opposite end of the mall. The steel won't be a problem, but the bricks will need to make a bit of a trip to get to the assemblers. We can either let it be, and wait for the logistics speed upgrades to be researched more, or we will need to move the setup over at some point. For now, I will leave it here, a trickle of foundations will be enough. Well, technically we could also just add a second stone brick chest to get more bots doing the deliveries. There are some workarounds we can go for. As I've said, not the best placement ever, but it will do for now. At this point, the stackers should be ready, so we can place them down, and we can call these fractionators done and dusted. Alright, that should kick things up a notch with the electric motor production, which in turn will help with the green turbines. But only time will tell if this intervention was enough or not. Not sure I like how the production graphs don't really show any noticeable change in the relevant items. The blue magnets are still painfully underproduced. We are also quite low on power. I thought we could coast on the current generators, but we have to face facts, it will not be enough. The problem is, as we fix a shortage in one area, that will cause a ripple effect in other arrays, as the new materials become available, causing previously dormant assemblers to come online. Even if we didn't build new ones, we would still be in trouble power-wise. The fusion reactor's a bit too boxed in already, so we will either need to go and set up a whole new array for them, or try to expand the current one in some way. For now, we will stay with the old ones, and only set up a new area if absolutely necessary. The shortage of blue magnets is starting to affect the fuel rods quite a bit. We better sort this out, or we're in big trouble. The power is also looking rather poorly. We have quite a bit of work ahead of us. Well, I decided to allow things to settle into the new rhythm for now, and spend a bit of time on the new iron outpost instead. Lambda Leonis only has 6 million of it left, I think we can do better. Now, this system has 18 million. And the vast majority is concentrated on the outermost planet, so it is a prime target for our next mining outpost. As usual, setting up mining is a bit of a chore, so I will speed up the game even more than usual, so we can get through this faster. I think that will do for now. We can go home. The tower making the electric motors now has more than enough iron plates, but we are still not making enough to satisfy the demand. We need to expand the other side of the setup. Apart from a couple rows at the very back of the columns, pretty much all of the assemblers are busy working. We could trim them down to size, but we have a lot of stuff to do. I didn't want to play around with the ratios right now. But look at the blue magnet production. It managed to pick up some steam in the meantime. Still nowhere near enough to get the amount we need, but we're getting there. While things are settling down after we once more expanded the electric motor production, how about we deal with something new? The new defense turrets will need some special ammo made, and we have time to sort out the factory for them. As you can see, this one requires deuterium to be made. Now you know why it was so important to take care of the new fractionators. That should be able to work on the ammo while we are busy doing other stuff. Let's just leave it to build up a decent stockpile. Building the turrets will have to be done in the mall, of course. We only need to add the titanium glass into the available resources in the area, and we should be ready to start making them. Yeah, I did forget to set the limits on these boxes. It was bound to happen again, and I'm sure it will keep happening. As for the actual factory, I don't think we will need these in massive numbers. A single assembler will be enough to make them. And we have the new turrets under construction. Thanks to the overall blue magnet shortage, it will take a while to make enough, but it's a start. Okay, the extended motor factory is working at full speed. The tower has an overabundance of components. But we still have a shortage of them in the green turbine tower, so we will definitely need to set up a second array. But, I did notice that the gears were starting to drop, so I upgraded that array, just to be safe. Nice, we already have 2500 ammo for the new turrets. Let's see how those are doing. Only got 7 made. We don't need that many, but definitely more than that. And as expected, it was down to the shortage of blue magnets. For now, I just stole some from the nearby chests. I really wasn't happy how the power was still stuck at around 70 to 80%. To keep going, we really should try to go for a stable 100. Also, maybe I should start getting into the habit of using those gray textures for the foundations. I do like leaving some greenery around, but I do have to admit, there is a certain charm to the way planets look once they are fully covered in metal. Anyways, to deal with our current power troubles, I went ahead and started crafting even more reactors. In the early days of the sphere construction, I don't think we will be able to make enough photons to really start making the antimatter cells, but we can use it to help the fusion reactors out. Sadly, the reactors also need the blue magnets, so we had to reclaim some from the turret factory, but what's left should be enough to make what we need. About 30, let's see if it's enough to tip us over the edge. We are starting to dip into the low 90s. Maybe a few more, and we should be in the positive. Also, you might have noticed that the fusion cells in the tower are only proliferated to level 2. That is because the power outages interfere with the sprayer, and some of the cells pass through without being coated. Once they enter into a stack, the proliferation levels average themselves out, so we get level 2 as a result. One of the long-standing shortages we have in the base are the carbon nanotubes. For now, we will simply expand the current setup as best we can. But we are starting to run into situations where we need to start building multiple instances of the same manufacturing arrays. We already had to double up on our magnetic coil tower, and today, we will have to do the same with the electric engines. This is right around the point in the game where I usually start thinking about moving some of the more problematic factories onto other worlds. Might be something that we need to start doing in this playthrough as well. It's not much, but it will have to do for now. Once we start moving stuff off-world, this will absolutely have to be among the first to go. Anyways, this is where I caved under the pressure, and decided that we simply cannot carry on with a single electric engine factory. We need another one. With a bit of strategic terraforming and windmill dismantling, this place should be able to accommodate another array. I can only hope that this will be enough to finally put an end to our blue magnet shortage. But having so many extra facilities on the planet, we are really starting to run out of room. The more I think about it, the more evident it is that we really need to start moving stuff off-world to keep up. Thankfully, it shouldn't be a big problem to deal with. As we established, we only need 8 shield generators to prevent dark fog landings on a planet, and since we will not be building a sphere around other stars in the near future, we will not have to worry about attacks from space and other systems. If we want, we can wipe one clean, set up the shields, and we can start using it as a manufacturing base. Anyways, adding that second motor factory did generate enough of them to fully saturate the green turbine array. That is definitely good news. And even the blue magnets ended up with a noticeable boost. Only time will tell if it's enough or not, but the signs are encouraging. Anyways, we have 18 more reactors, let's place them down to help with the power. Finally, we are back in the positive. I really can't wait to start using the end game power generation, those will be an absolute godsend. Anyways, we should have enough turrets to start setting up our defenses. For now, we will only go to Vulcan and Minerva to do this, Juno will need a bit more planning. I mean, we could roll the dice, and hope that the planets are aligned in a way that one of them can protect Juno, but it is definitely possible that they could be on the other side of Zeus at just the wrong moment, so we might not want to gamble on such things. Anyways, these defenses are pretty simple. We just set up a belt ring near one of the poles, place the turrets right on top of those, and then feed the ammo into that belt, continuously restocking them. And as you can see, these turrets are quite beefy. Way larger than the ones we've been using until now. The south pole of Vulcan is now defended. But, depending on the season, we might want to have the same thing on the North Pole too, so let's set that up real quick. And it's done. Vulcan is now defended on both poles. Unless the enemy approaches the planet directly from the plane of the equator, we should be safe. And that kind of thing is highly unlikely. For now, I didn't want to spend too much time on Minerva, we will just have to make do with the North Pole outpost. There isn't much room, but I think we can squeeze in a couple turrets. The power does concern me a little bit. I kind of doubt that windmills will be enough to fully power these monsters. We might want to bring in some fusion power at some point, but for now, we can use windmills as a temporary solution. Fingers crossed. But I think it will be okay. These turrets have quite a long range, so I think they will be able to shoot down enemy attackers before they get in range, even with the occasional power shortage. As for the other pole on Minerva, we didn't have enough of the other turrets to defend the big boys from the local swarms. Plus it was already occupied by mining. We will deal with that at some other time. Well, we were right at the end of the episode, but now that the defenses were dealt with, at least for now, I decided to quickly take care of the last thing we need to start launching rockets. The actual launchers themselves. But, that single damaged signal tower was driving me crazy. I popped back to Minerva real quick to place a Babs next to it, so it can be repaired in our absence. The deuterium production is still trying to fill things up, but we now have more of them in the towers than the carrying capacity of the drones, so we are actually producing more than we need. Anyways, as I've said, let's take care of the launchers. For now, we will just start with a meager 10 of them, but there will come a time when we will have dozens of them circling the planet, launching rockets without stopping. Let's find a suitable place for them. We just need a nice long stretch of land, so we can make them feed each other in a serial fashion. Since we are thinking about moving stuff off-world, we might as well just dip into the equatorial belt. This tower will contain the rockets, brought in from the assembly tower. And these are the launchers. They will take in the rockets, and start launching them. And the best thing is, they can be set up in a way, where they feed each other, so we don't need to build complicated belt systems. We can just shove the rockets in at one end, and they will work their way down the chain. Similar to the way power generators can feed each other fuel. And we are ready to start building the sphere. I hate to do this, but I decided to leave this as a cliffhanger. As I've said, I want to keep the overall sphere design a secret. I want to make it take shape over time. I didn't want to spend time designing it during the recording. It is a bit of a tedious process, so I just made it off camera, saved the blueprint in a text file, and I will put it into the editor between episodes. I might still show you how it works around a different star, but the final shape of this first sphere will be a secret, at least in the beginning. But, building a sphere is a very long process, and the only way to speed it up is if we increase production. So, once we start launching, we will do just that, and start ramping things up. We will start strip mining entire star systems, use their barren planets as manufacturing centers, and maybe even take the fight to the dark fog if we feel like it. This is where we can start thinking in big terms. Anyways, if you haven't done it already, I would love it if you subscribe to the channel. And clicking the like button will also help letting me know that the video was worth making. If you would like to help me make a living off this one day, please consider becoming a channel member, where you will get an early access to the videos as I make them. And if you want to give a one-time donation, you can find a link to my Ko-fi page in the description. Thank you for your support, and I will see you in the next one.